Look, I know exactly what you're thinking right now. You clicked on this video because you're tired. Not just physically tired, though your joints might be aching a bit more than they used to, but mentally exhausted. You're exhausted from the endless rules. The industry has spent the last 30 years telling you that getting older means shrinking. Shrinking your portions, shrinking your waistline, shrinking your expectations of what your body can actually do after 50. They told you to starve the fat, cut the carbs, and just accept the slow decline. But what if I told you that every single thing we've been taught about aging and food is completely backward? I am not here to give you another restrictive diet. I am here to talk about a paradigm shift. Pioneering scientists, like the renowned researcher Dr. William Li, have uncovered a biological reality that changes everything. Inside you right now, there are 3 hidden biological switches. When they are turned off, you age rapidly. You store fat, you feel heavy, but when you flip them on, your body becomes a self-healing fortress. And the crazy part, you don't flip these switches by starving yourself. You flip them by eating. Let's talk about the first switch. Let's talk about the mirror. You know the moment I mean. You step out of the shower, catch a glimpse of yourself, and you don't quite recognize the shape looking back at you. The weight that used to fall off after a few days of eating salads now clings to your waistline like it's permanently glued there. It feels like a betrayal. It feels like your body, the same body that carried you through decades of hard work, raising a family, and building a life, has suddenly decided to stop cooperating. Your doctor probably told you it's just a slowing metabolism. They probably told you to eat less and move more. It's the oldest, most tired advice in the medical playbook. And it's fundamentally flawed because it treats your body like a simple math equation. Calories in, calories out. But you are not a calculator. You are a complex, highly intelligent biological system. And the reason you can't lose that stubborn weight after 50 isn't because you lack willpower. It's because the first biological switch, your metabolic furnace, has been accidentally turned off. To turn it back on, we have to completely change how we think about the word fat. For our entire lives, we've been conditioned to view body fat as the enemy. We see it as a toxic burden, a storage unit for all our dietary mistakes. We pinch it, we hate it, we try to sweat it out in gyms we don't even want to be in. But modern science has uncovered something profound. Fat is not just dead weight. It is a living, breathing endocrine organ. It produces hormones that dictate your mood, your hunger, and your energy levels. And here is the secret that changes everything. Not all fat is created equal. Most of what we see and hate is white fat. That's the storage fat. It's the stuff that packs itself around our organs and drives up inflammation. But hiding deep inside you, around your collarbones and down your spine, is a completely different type of tissue. It's called brown fat. For a long time, the medical community thought only hibernating bears and newborn babies had brown fat. They thought it disappeared as we grew up. But a few years ago, researchers looking at body scans of adults during the cold Boston winters noticed something glowing on the monitors. It wasn't cancer. It wasn't a glitch in the machine. It was brown fat, waking up. Here is why this matters to you right now. Brown fat is not a storage unit. It is a space heater. When it gets activated, it fires up like a furnace. And what does this furnace use for fuel? It burns your stubborn white fat. Let that sink in for a moment. You have a built-in mechanism whose primary job is to burn off the bad fat. It's like having a silent ally inside your own body, waiting for the signal to go to work. So, how do we flip the switch? How do we turn on the furnace when we are 50, 60, or 70 years old? You might think the answer is freezing cold showers or hours of grueling cardio, but the truth is far more elegant, and it starts in the last place you'd expect, your gut. Inside your digestive tract, you have a microbiome, a bustling city of trillions of bacteria, and among those trillions, there is one specific, microscopic superhero. Its name is Akkermansia. Think of Akkermansia as the foreman of your metabolic factory. People with fast, Healthy metabolisms are usually teeming with this bacteria. People who struggle with weight, blood sugar issues, and chronic fatigue. Their Akkermansia populations are usually decimated, wiped out by years of processed foods, stress, and antibiotics. When you don't have enough of this bacteria, your brown fat stays dormant. The furnace stays cold, but you can't just go to the pharmacy and buy an Akkermansia pill. It's incredibly fragile and hard to manufacture. You have to grow it yourself, from the inside out. You have to cultivate it. This is where the concept of adding comes in. You don't grow this bacteria by starving yourself. You grow it by feeding it exactly what it wants. And what it wants are specific bioactives called allagitannins. You find these compounds in dark, rich foods, pure pomegranate juice, Concord grapes, walnuts. When you consume these foods, you aren't just drinking juice or eating a snack. You are laying down the perfect, nutrient-rich soil in your gut. The pomegranate juice triggers your intestinal lining to create a healthy layer of mucus, and Akkermansia blooms in that environment. When that bacteria thrives, it sends a chemical text message to your immune system and your metabolism. It flips the switch. The brown fat wakes up. The furnace turns on. You aren't broken. Your metabolism, impermanently ruined by age. You've just been operating with the furnace turned off. By simply adding a few ounces of pure, tart pomegranate juice to your morning routine, you are doing more for your metabolism than a week of miserable, restrictive dieting. You are working with your body's ancient intelligence, not against it. There is a specific kind of quiet anxiety that creeps in after you cross the half-century mark. It usually happens in the waiting room of a doctor's office, or late at night when the house is entirely still. It's the sudden, sharp realization that your body is no longer invincible. You start waiting for the check engine light to come on. You hear about a friend getting a diagnosis, and a cold thought crosses your mind. Is it my turn next? We have been conditioned to believe that disease is just a lottery, a game of genetic roulette that we eventually lose. We are taught to wait for the illness to arrive and then rely on a pharmacy to fix it. But what if the pharmacy was already inside your house? What if the most powerful medicine on earth didn't come in an orange plastic bottle, but was sitting quietly on your kitchen counter? This brings us to the second biological switch, your cellular shield. To flip this switch, we have to understand what aging actually is. Aging, in just the passing of time. Biologically speaking, aging is simply the accumulation of unrepaired cellular damage. Every day, your cells are bombarded by stress, pollution, and poor food choices. When your internal repair systems can't keep up with the damage, you age, you get sick. But you have the power to arm those repair systems. You have the power to turn your body into a fortress, and you do it by utilizing 3 specific, highly potent foods. I don't mean just eating them occasionally. I mean deploying them strategically, like a commander arming his best troops. Let's start with your immune system. We tend to think of our immune system only when we catch a cold, but your immune system is actually a highly trained special ops team patrolling your bloodstream every second of the day, hunting down microscopic cancer cells and rogue viruses. As we age, those troops get tired. They get sluggish. To wake them up, you don't need a synthetic supplement. You need a tiny, unassuming plant, the broccoli sprout. I am not talking about the mature, rubbery broccoli crowns your mother forced you to eat at the dinner table. I am talking about the fragile, 3-day-old baby sprouts. Why? Because nature is incredibly efficient. When a broccoli plant is just a sprout, it packs all of its defensive chemicals into that tiny stem to protect itself from insects. These sprouts contain a compound called sulforaphane, and they don't just have a little bit of it. They have up to 100 times more sulforaphane than a full-grown head of broccoli. When you consume this compound, it acts like a massive alarm bell for your immune system. It wakes up your natural killer cells. In clinical studies, people who consumed a broccoli sprout shake alongside a standard flu shot had a 22 times greater immune response than those who didn't. 22 times. That is the difference between a sluggish defense and an impenetrable wall. But defending the fortress isn't enough. You also have to repair the damage that has already been done. that requires construction workers. In your body, those workers are called stem cells. For years, stem cells sounded like pure science fiction, but you have them circulating in your blood right now. Their entire job is to find damaged tissue, a worn-out blood vessel, a torn muscle, a struggling organ, and rebuild it from scratch. The problem is, as we get older, our stem cells tend to go into hiding. They go dormant. How do we call them back to the front lines? With one of the most misunderstood foods on the planet, dark chocolate. I know what you are thinking. Chocolate is a candy. It's a guilty pleasure. But I am not talking about the sugary, milk-laden bars sitting at the checkout counter. I am talking about high-quality, 80% cacao, unalkalized dark chocolate. This specific type of chocolate is loaded with flavanols. When you consume it, a biological miracle happens. Studies conducted at major universities have shown that drinking a high-flavanol cocoa beverage can literally double the number of regenerative stem cells circulating in your bloodstream. Double them? In older adults with compromised heart health, this protocol actually restored the elasticity of their blood vessels. It reversed the clock on their cardiovascular system. You are repairing your body with the very thing you were told to avoid. Finally, we have to protect the master blueprint itself, your DNA. Think of your DNA like a long, complex shoelace. At the very ends of that shoelace are little plastic tips called telomeres. Their job is to keep the shoelace from fraying. Every time your cells divide, those tips get a little bit shorter. When the tips burn out completely, the cell dies. That fraying process is the literal definition of biological aging. For a long time, science thought this fraying was unstoppable. But then they looked at the ancient traditions of Asia, specifically the daily ritual of drinking green tea. Green tea contains a powerful bioactive called EGCG. When this compound enters your system, it acts like a microscopic shield around your DNA. It physically slows down the fraying of those telomeres. It protects the plastic tips of your genetic shoelaces. But there is a catch. Most people ruin their green tea by pouring boiling water directly over the delicate leaves, scorching them and destroying the EGCG. To unlock this shield, you have to be patient. You boil the water, let it sit for a few minutes to cool slightly, and then steep the tea. It's a quiet, deliberate ritual. Broccoli sprouts for the immune troops, dark chocolate for the stem cell builders, green tea for the DNA blueprint. When you combine these three elements, you are no longer a passive victim waiting for the check engine light to come on. You are actively, aggressively, and deliciously defending your life. You are flipping the second switch. We have spent a lot of time talking about the incredible power of adding the right foods to your plate. We've built a cellular shield and turned on the metabolic furnace. But I need to be completely honest with you right now. You can eat the most perfect, nutrient-dense, organic diet in the world. But if you are pouring those good foods into a toxic environment, it's like trying to heat your house in the dead of winter while leaving all the windows wide open. You cannot out-heat a biological saboteur. To truly activate your longevity, we have to flip the third and final switch. And this switch isn't about what you add. It's about identifying the hidden forces that are quietly shutting down your defense systems. Let's start with the physical saboteur hiding in plain sight in almost every American kitchen: industrial seed oils. I am talking about soybean oil, canola oil, corn oil, and sunflower oil. For decades, we were told these were the heart-healthy alternatives to butter. We were told to cook with them, bake with them, and pour them over our salads. But modern science has revealed a very different, much darker story. These oils are highly processed, often extracted using harsh chemical solvents, and then bleached so they don't smell rancid. The real danger lies in their chemical structure. They are overloaded with omega-6 fatty acids. When you consume too much omega-6, it acts like a match dropped in dry brush. It creates massive, systemic inflammation throughout your 60,000 miles of blood vessels. This inflammation literally suffocates your stem cells. It blocks your brown fat from activating. You could be eating broccoli sprouts every day, but if you are cooking them in canola oil, you are taking one step forward and two steps back. The fix is simple. Go to your pantry, Take those clear plastic bottles of vegetable oil and throw them in the trash. Replace them with cold-pressed extra virgin olive oil or pure avocado oil. By the way, if you are still here at this point in the video with me, I want to invite you to subscribe to our channel and follow us every day. It takes a certain kind of quiet courage to sit here and unlearn decades of bad medical advice. It takes grit to look at your health and decide that you are no longer going to accept the slow decline that society expects of you. If that is the kind of person you are, you belong in this community. But as dangerous as those industrial oils are, there is an enemy even more destructive. And this one doesn't come in a bottle. It's completely invisible. I am talking about chronic stress. In our modern world, especially for those of us over 50 who are juggling careers, aging parents, and the weight of a lifetime of responsibilities, stress has become a constant, low-grade hum in the background of our lives. When you are stressed, your body pumps out cortisol. Historically, cortisol was designed to save your life. If you were in physical danger, cortisol would spike, shutting down your digestion and your immune system so that all your energy could go to your muscles to help you survive. Once the danger passed, the cortisol would drop. But today, the danger isn't a predator. It's a stressful email, a traffic jam, or the evening news. Because the stress never stops, the cortisol never drops. When your cortisol is chronically elevated, it acts like a pair of biological scissors, snipping away and shortening your telomeres, accelerating the aging of your DNA. But worse than that, it paralyzes your gut. There is a massive biological highway connecting your brain to your digestive system called the vagus nerve. It is a two-way street. When your brain is frantic and anxious, it sends distress signals down that nerve directly into your microbiome. This stress signal alters the environment of your gut, making it hostile for our superhero bacteria, Akkermansia, and allowing inflammatory bacteria to take over. So, how do we combat this? The answer isn't just meditating on a mountaintop. It's about changing how we interact with our food. There is a fascinating historical story about the Empress Dowager Cixi, who ruled China in the late 19th century. Her royal chefs would prepare banquets with up to 30 different dishes, rich broths, steamed fish, fermented delicacies. You would think she would overeat and ruin her health. But the Empress had a rule. She would look at the magnificent spread, take in the aromas, and then take only 1 or 2 small bites of each dish. She ate for the sensory experience. She practiced what we now call mindful eating. Contrast that with how we eat today. We eat a sandwich with one hand while steering the car with the other. We eat dinner while staring at our smartphones, swallowing our food practically whole. When you eat in a state of distraction, your nervous system is in fight or flight mode. Your body is biologically incapable of absorbing nutrients. But when you eat like the Empress, when you sit down, take a deep breath, and actually taste your food, you activate your parasympathetic nervous system. You enter rest and digest mode. You flip the third switch. So, here we are. We've cleared out the toxic oils. We've learned how to breathe like an empress to lower our cortisol and protect our gut. We know about the brown fat furnace and the cellular shield. But I know the question that is sitting in the back of your mind right now, because it's the same question I had when I first understood this science. How do I actually do this every day without it becoming a full-time job? By the time we reach our 50s, we are done with complicated meal prep. We are done with weighing our food and tracking every single calorie on an app. We don't want a diet. We want a rhythm. We want a way of living that feels natural, sustainable, and actually enjoyable. To find that rhythm, we don't need to invent anything new. We just need to look at history. If you look at the blue zones, the regions of the world where people routinely live past 90 or 100 years old in excellent health, you notice to dominant cultures, the Mediterranean and the Asian, for a long time. People thought you had to choose between them. You either ate olive oil and tomatoes, or you ate green tea and miso. But thousands of years ago, there was a superhighway called the Silk Road. It wasn't just a trade route for fabrics. It was a bridge for culinary wisdom, connecting the East to the West. When you fuse these two ancient cultures together, You get what experts call the MediterAsian lifestyle. It is, without a doubt, the most powerful biological rhythm you can adopt. Let me show you what a day in this rhythm actually looks like. Disclaimer: the content in this video is for educational and informational purposes only and is not intended as a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Always seek the advice of your physician or other qualified healthcare provider with any questions you may have regarding a medical condition or before making any changes to your diet or lifestyle. It starts in the morning. The standard American breakfast, the bagels, the sugary cereals, the orange juice, is a metabolic disaster. It floods your system with refined carbohydrates, causing a massive glucose spike that acts like sandpaper on the inside of your blood vessels. It shuts down your stem cell production before you even leave the house. In the MediterAsian rhythm, we wake up the defense systems gently. You start with a large glass of water to clear the internal highways. Then, instead of a heavy meal, you might have a simple longevity smoothie, a base of brewed, cooled green tea for your DNA, a cup of dark blueberries for your immune system, a handful of those broccoli sprouts. It's tart, it's refreshing, and it arms your internal troops without causing a single crash in your blood sugar. By the time midday rolls around, your body needs sustained fuel. This is where we apply the 70-30 rule. When you look at your lunch plate, 70% of it should be plant-based. We are talking about dark leafy greens, roasted vegetables, and a generous scoop of legumes, like lentils or chickpeas. This is the fiber that your Akkermansia bacteria is begging for. The remaining 30% is your high-quality protein, like a piece of wild-caught salmon or pasture-raised chicken. And you finish it by drenching that plate in cold-pressed extra virgin olive oil. But the real magic of lunch happens right after you put your fork down. In our culture, we eat and then we immediately sit back down at a desk or on a couch. In the MediterAsian rhythm, there is a non-negotiable habit, the post-meal stroll. It doesn't have to be a workout, just a 10 or 15-minute walk around the block. When you walk right after eating, you take the glucose that just entered your bloodstream and push it directly into your muscles to be used as energy. It is the easiest, most effective way to protect your blood vessels from inflammation and keep your brown fat active. Finally, we come to the evening, and this is where most of us get it wrong. Your gut bacteria have a circadian rhythm, just like your brain. They need to sleep. If you eat a heavy, hard-to-digest meal at 9 o'clock at night, you are forcing your gut to work the night shift. This disrupts your sleep, spikes your cortisol, and prevents your body from doing its nightly cellular repair. Dinner should be the lightest meal of the day. A warm bowl of miso soup, some steamed vegetables, and a small piece of fish. But the golden rule is this: you close the kitchen at least 3 hours before your head hits the pillow. When you stop eating early, you activate something called the migrating motor complex. Think of it as your gut's internal cleaning crew. It sweeps through your digestive tract while you sleep, clearing out undigested food and bacteria. You wake up the next morning with a flat stomach, a refreshed system, and a body that has spent the last 8 hours healing itself instead of digesting a late-night steak. You aren't dieting. You are orchestrating a daily symphony of healing. You are working with your body's ancient intelligence, not against it. We've covered a lot of ground today. We started by looking in the mirror, acknowledging that quiet exhaustion that comes from fighting a body you no longer understand. We talked about the diet industry, the endless rules, and the heavy expectation that getting older simply means fading away. But then, we looked under the hood. We found the first switch. We realized that the fat we've been fighting our whole lives, it's just dead weight. It's an intelligent organ. We learned how to wake up the brown fat furnace, using something as simple as pomegranate juice to cultivate the Akkermansia in our gut, turning our bodies into self-heating, fat-burning engines. We found the second switch. We stopped waiting for the pharmacy to save us and looked at the kitchen counter. We armed the immune troops with broccoli sprouts. We called the stem cell builders back to the front lines with dark chocolate. We shielded our DNA with the quiet ritual of green tea. We built a cellular fortress. And finally, we found the third switch. We identified the invisible saboteurs. We threw out the industrial seed oils that were suffocating our cells. We recognized the destructive power of chronic cortisol, and we learned to breathe, to sit, and to eat with the deliberate, mindful grace of an empress. You now hold the blueprint. You understand the architecture of your own biology. But knowing the science is only half the equation. The real transformation happens in the quiet moments of your day. It happens tomorrow morning, when you walk into your kitchen and the house is still dark. For decades, you've probably walked into that kitchen feeling a sense of restriction. You looked at food as a math problem, a calculation of calories and guilt. You looked at your plate and thought about what you had to subtract to be acceptable. I want you to leave that mindset in the past. It doesn't serve you anymore. When you walk into your kitchen tomorrow, I want you to look at your food not as a burden, but as a biological code. Every time you take a bite, you are writing a line of code that tells your body how to behave. You are sending a direct message to your 60,000 miles of blood vessels. You are speaking to your stem cells. You are no longer a passenger in a vehicle that is slowly breaking down. You are the architect. Society has a very specific narrative for people over 50. The narrative is that your best days, your strongest days, your most vibrant days, are behind you. They expect you to quietly accept the aching joints, the brain fog, and the slow decline. They expect you to step aside. But biology tells a completely different story. Biology says that if you provide the right environment, if you flip the right switches, your body is capable of profound, miraculous renewal at any age. There are two paths in front of you right now. One path is the one you already know. It's the path of restriction, of frustration, of treating your body like an enemy that needs to be conquered. It's the path that leads to the waiting room. The other path is the one we've walked today. It's the path of addition. It's the path of working with the ancient, brilliant intelligence of your own cells. It's the path of the MediterAsian rhythm, where food is medicine, where meals are a celebration, and where aging is not a decline, but a refinement. I can't make the choice for you. No one can. The power is entirely in your hands. But I will tell you this, you have so much more life left to live. You have places to go, people to love, and work to do. You need a body that can carry you through all of it, not just surviving, but thriving. You don't have to fade away. If this conversation resonated with you today, if it shifted something in how you view your own future, I want to ask you to do a few things. First, subscribe to the channel. We are building a community here of people who refuse to accept the standard narrative of aging, and I want you to be a part of it. Second, I want you to think of 5 people in your life right now. Friends, family members, colleagues, people who are tired, who are struggling with their health, who need to hear that they are not broken. Share this video with them. Send it in a text. Put it in an email. Let's give them the blueprint, too. And finally, leave a sincere comment below. I don't want just a thumbs up. I want to know what you are thinking. What was the one realization today that hit you the hardest? And more importantly, what do you want us to uncover next? Tell me what you are struggling with, and let that be the topic of our next video. Take care of yourself. Build your fortress. I'll see you next time.